Hello my loves, welcome to this 50k celebration Q&A. A little while ago, a couple of days ago, I posted on my channel that I was going to film this video, and I asked you guys for any questions that you want me to answer. And I also jokingly said that now that there's 50,000 of us, we could easily start a small village somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of you replied very positively on that, so I'll start the sign-up sheet very soon. You'll get an email about that. No, just kidding. But I do want to highlight a couple of comments first about the whole village joke, because I thought it was really funny and I just wanted to give those people a little shout out. We have two cooks already for the village. We have Gaia's the Warrior and we have Renecha. We have Roger, who will be the village carpenter. We have Lunario Cosplay, who asks if he can be the loner at the edge of town that stands as the guard with his guard doggy, and he's also really good at building, so I think you should definitely come. And then we have a couple more funny but very smart remarks. Coincidentally, by two different Daniels. The first Daniel said, or is asking, are we starting a cult? Because in this day and age, we might as well preemptively hire a few lawyers, which is actually very smart, and I'm happy you thought of that. You're coming, that's a very smart move. We definitely need a couple of lawyers if we're gonna start a cult somewhere in the middle of the forest. And then the other Daniel said, if all of them, so if all 50,000 of us come together, that will be a very large village. I live in a small town and there's only about 3,000 people here. At 50k would be larger than many small cities. Liechtenstein only has a population of 40k and that is a country. So I think what Daniel is saying is that we should aim higher and go for a country instead of a village. That's my takeaway from that comment. But thank you for everyone who sent lovely messages and comments on that post that I made. I had a really good time just reading through you guys' messages. So on to the actual questions that you guys came here for. I decided to group them all together because there's quite a few people who asked very similar questions, and also I put a question box on my Instagram story a couple of days ago, but I forgot to screenshot the questions that you guys sent in, and after 24 hours your story gets deleted and I don't know how to find your questions again. They kind of just got lost deep in the belly of Instagram and I don't know how to find them again. So I'm really sorry for the people who sent in questions through Instagram. But there's a lot of you who commented on my YouTube post, so we have plenty of questions to go through anyway. So the first few questions are about why I started my ASMR videos. I actually started my ASMR channel a couple of years back, I want to say like 3 or 4 years back, and it was kind of just like random role plays and tapping and those kind of things, and I only really started my Reiki stuff a couple of months back, I want to say December of last year. In the meanwhile, I have deleted my older videos because I kind of want this channel to be just about Reiki, and I thought it was kind of confusing to have other videos there as well. But initially I just started making ASMR videos just because it kind of looked like something fun to do. I was listening to ASMR videos years before I ever made my own video, just because it really helps me fall asleep, like well, the same for many of you guys while you're watching ASMR videos. It wasn't really a deep, like thought out process of me starting a channel. I kind of just decided on a whim, and yeah, that's basically, there's nothing like deep to it. Then Jessica asks, my question is about the direction of your channel / YouTube career. Did it surprise you when your ASMR content really took off? I know you do a lot of lifestyle stuff too, and I love those videos, but your ASMR stuff seems to be incredibly popular. Yeah, it really surprised me when I kind of came back to my ASMR channel. I'm not sure if I just mentioned that or not, but I took a little break from posting ASMR videos. I think I took like a 2-year break, like it was a very long break before I started again at the end of last year. And at the time I was still filming vlogs on my vlog channel. I did not expect these ASMR videos to take off. I didn't expect this channel to take off. I'm still not quite understanding how it happened, but here we are, and I'm just gonna embrace it. And I really enjoy making these types of videos anyway, so it's kind of a win-win. And yeah, there were some people who asked me, not on my YouTube post, but just in DMs, now that I'll be moving, whether I'll still be making ASMR videos. And of course, I'm still going to continue creating videos for you guys. I just really enjoy it, and it looks like you guys enjoy it too. So then that kind of brings me into Annie's question. She asked, what inspires you to keep making videos? And honestly, it's you guys. You guys are so sweet and wholesome and so supportive in the comments. It always makes my day to read your little messages, and it also really helps that you guys send me requests about videos that you want to see, because on days where I don't feel inspired or I don't quite know what video I want to film, I look through your requested comments. I basically have a folder on my computer where I've saved all the screenshots of the comments that had video requests in them, and I'll just look through that folder and then find something that kind of piques my interest and then turn that into a video. So it really helps that you guys send me requests, and I guess in turn you guys get to actually also see the videos that you want to see. So then, since I just kind of touched slightly or lightly upon me moving, I thought we would jump into that because there were a few questions about my move. The first few are from Kathy and Silent Raindrops Fell, asking why I moved to the UK in the first place. For those of you who don't know, I am Belgian. I'm not American, even though my accent is. Honestly, my accent is the only thing American about me. I am born and raised, for the most part, in Belgium, and I moved to the UK about close to 5 years ago now, because I was in a relationship at the time with a guy who lived in Oxford, and we were doing long distance for a little while, but I just wanted to move closer to him, so I moved to London first. And then after that, we moved to Brighton together, but we have broken up since. It's, I think, been almost like 2 years now. And I didn't really intend on staying here in Brighton for that long. I just wanted to stick around for like a little bit longer, just to hang out with my friends. And I just have amazing friends here, so I wasn't ready yet to let go of them and say goodbye. And then the whole pandemic happened, and I just got stuck here, like a lot of other people got stuck where they're at. So now that things are easing up a little bit, I am moving again. And that brings me to the question why I am moving to Spain. I didn't really have the intention at first to move to Spain. At first I wanted to move to Portugal. And I invited my friend Vanessa to move with me, which you guys will know Vanessa if you've been around on my channel for a little while. We filmed, I think, 2 videos together here on this channel, and she was actually the one to suggest Ibiza, which is where we're going to go now for a couple of months. Ibiza was never like on my mind, because whenever someone talks to me about Ibiza, like all I can think is parties and drugs. But my friend has been there before, and she said that there's a really beautiful spiritual community So we're gonna go there for about 3 months, and then probably just travel on to a different location. I'm kind of leaning towards Costa Rica, but we'll see where the wind takes us. The idea is kind of to travel around for the next year or so, I would say, every couple months, until we both find a place that we really like and where we want to kind of settle down and shoot our roots down, so to say. Because I don't really see myself living here in England long term, nor in Belgium. So yeah, we're kind of just traveling around to find a place that we would like to stay in for a little while longer. Okay, then we have a couple of questions that kind of have to do with spirituality, self-development. First off, I'm going to take this off because this is getting really too hot right now. It seemed like a good idea until, well, I have all these lights on me, so it gets really, really warm fast. So we have two people who asked very similar questions, so I grouped them together. Marina asked, it seems to me you've gone through a lot. I've checked out your other channel as well, and I was wondering how you managed to remain a kind soul and keep your gentle and kind spirit through tough times instead of becoming hard and bitter like it happens to some people. And then Patricia asked, I would love to know how long did it take you to get your aura so comforting and how? There was definitely a time of my life where I allowed my own pain to harden me up. I think a lot of people who are hard and bitter are people who just carry a lot of pain within themselves and don't know how to deal with it and how to heal from that pain, and so they carry their pain as armor, as a way to keep other people out. And I think whenever we go through something painful, I mean, we all go through painful things in life. There's no one who gets spared from heartbreak or maybe family dynamic issues, or maybe even, really big traumas. In those moments when we are going through a painful situation, everyone has the choice to decide what they end up doing with that pain, how they carry that pain, how they deal with it, how they heal through it. On the one hand, what a lot of people do is they don't deal with it. They allow it to make themselves really hard, and they kind of get stuck in this place of, this happened to me, and they allow it to kind of sour their view on the world. And that is one way of dealing with a painful situation. Another way is to deeply trust that whatever is put in your path is there to crack you open and to teach you something about yourself, or to help you get deeper in touch with who you are. And surely there are going to be exceptions to that. There are things that I can imagine, like getting raped or having your parents killed, or some like really, really big traumas that I'm not sure apply to this. I'm talking more so about like smaller traumas, if that makes sense. And again, I also want to say I'm just talking purely from like personal experience and personal perspective. So whatever I say, please filter it through your own mind first and just take and leave whatever you want from this. But another way of, like I said, handling that situation is trusting that whatever is put on your path is put on your path for a reason, and it's put there to help you grow as a person and as a soul. And for the majority of my life, until I would say like my mid-20s, I was in this other camp where I really kind of always put myself in the shoes of the victim. And yeah, maybe some of the things that happened to me in that moment I was a victim, but I kind of got stuck in that place where I was like dragging it with me instead of actually like looking at what happened, learning from it, and moving on from it. And I think from the moment that I started to get a bigger perspective on life, that I started realizing, wow, a lot of the things that happened to me when I was younger or even recently, I can always look back and see, wow, that actually needed to happen for me to grow even more into who I am. For example, I have been dealing with a chronic illness for most of my 20s. I've been dealing with chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's something that happened to me. So yes, in a sense, I'm a victim to an illness in the sense of like I didn't consciously invite this into my life. It's not like one day I was like, I just really want to get ill and I want to be ill for a very long time, right? But I can decide what that now means. What meaning do I give that to my life? And I think that's where softness comes into play, because from the moment that you trust that whatever is put in your life is there for a reason, and you can trust life to pull you through, and you can trust that it's going to move you in the right direction, that's when things kind of soften up energetically and internally, if that makes sense. In my example of chronic fatigue syndrome, I realized that I really needed to be knocked off course because I thought I was going where I wanted to go, and I thought I was being who I truly was, but I realized that there were so many things that I was doing, that I was believing about myself, that weren't true, and I needed this illness to stop me in my tracks and to make life really uncomfortable for me for a couple of years, to really get to like the bottom of my pit, so to say, to then realize how much I am. I know that sounds really vague, but I feel like it's in like the hard times when you realize who you are, and if you open yourself up to that, I think that's where you find your softness. And so I think from the moment that I started realizing that things were happening for me, because I finally was like climbing out of the pit and I could look back and see how everything fits so perfectly together. And even though it was a really hard time in my early 20s, I never felt like life pulled the rug out from underneath me. I felt like life always showed me what I needed to learn in the gentlest way that it knew, even though sometimes it would feel really hard in the moment. I think that helped me, on the one hand, to stay soft. I truly think that it's a choice whether you allow things to harden you up or whether you choose to remain open and receptive. And I think when it comes to finding comfort in your own aura, that has a lot to do with like fully on a deep level accepting who you are, all the different parts of you, all the parts that have been shamed in the past, or parts where you feel like maybe you're not good enough for other people, or things that you kind of want to like keep inside and not really show other people because you're afraid of how they're going to react. From the moment that you allow all those aspects of yourself to sit at the table, so to say, and to be a part of who you are, and you get a sense of just ease with yourself, I think that's when the softness kind of comes in, because there's no longer a need to protect yourself from the outside world. There is no longer this feeling of I need to defend myself to or against other people, because first of all, I feel really good in who I am, and on the other hand, I trust that if something painful does happen, it happens in my favor. I hope that makes sense. I know that wasn't maybe like the most practical answer. Like, I'm not sure if I can give you like actual like action steps of things you can do to become softer. Let me have a quick think. Actually, I did kind of give you like two different things. Like, the first one is to change your attitude about why things are happening to you versus for you, and that allows you, when it comes to like situations to remain open and soft. And then when it comes to being in the company of other people, to remain soft, that has a lot to do with being very comfortable with yourself. And also knowing that if someone else judges you for who you are, it's not the end of the world. Like, you're still gonna exist. Like, the world's not gonna stop spinning because one person doesn't like that you do this, or whatever it is that they're disliking you about. Yeah, I feel like I could go on and on about this question because there's so many layers to it, but I'm gonna keep it at this, and I hope you guys get something out of that. Then there are two kind of similar questions. The first one is by Kate. Her question is, how did you begin your own spiritual journey, and where do you hope it takes you moving forward? And then Missy Liana asked, how did you start your spiritual journey? So same question. And what's a good word of advice for someone wanting to deepen their spiritual practice? So my spiritual journey started, it wasn't like a clear point or like a clear date. But I would say beginning of my 20s when I started getting into yoga. At first I just got into it for the like physical sort of workout benefit, and then over the years I got introduced to like the philosophical side of it, and those things really clicked for me, and I started reading books. The first spiritual, I guess, book that I read was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and I picked it up because I saw it everywhere and it just caught my eye, and I was like, I need to read this book. And I thought it was just like a cool fiction story, but then as I read it, I realized there was actually a lot of like spiritual principles in there. So spirituality kind of snuck up on me in that way. So Kate asked, what are my hopes moving forward, or where it'll take me, my spiritual journey moving forward? I think just more of what I'm doing already. I feel like I got to a place where I feel really comfortable most days with who I am. Of course, I still have my days where I'm anxious or I don't feel that great. But I feel like in general, I've gotten to a point where I'm getting really comfortable with myself. I don't know if it's spirituality or maybe just the fact that I'm getting older. I'm turning 30 in May, so about 6 months, a little bit more than 6 months from now. And I've heard from a lot of people that usually in your 30s, you just get a lot more confident and like comfortable with who you are. So yeah, just more of that. I'm also looking more deeply into Stoicism, which I think is really interesting. I think I would define Stoicism as the art of non-reactivity. Yeah, I find that, just look into it. It's really interesting. I won't go into it here. But there's a guy on Instagram called Daily Stoic, he has really interesting posts on that. And then to answer Missy's question on good words of advice for someone wanting to deepen their spiritual practice, it's kind of hard because I don't know where you're at. I think what you can do is kind of maybe look at where your pain points still are, in the sense of like, where do you still get triggered? I think triggers are really good in helping you figure out where you can still grow. And I think that's kind of where Stoicism kind of like comes into the picture as well. It's kind of like not allowing the world to trigger us as much, and actually dealing with our triggers and healing them, so that when someone rubs onto us, is that how you say it? I feel like that's not right. When someone bumps into us the wrong way or rubs us the wrong way, that's it. That's the saying. Once we've healed that trigger, it won't trigger us as much when someone rubs into us the wrong way. Wait, was that the right way to say it? Whatever. It's getting late, and but you know what I mean, right? So maybe just look at where you're still getting triggered and see if you can heal that. Yeah, it's kind of a hard question to answer without knowing exactly where you're at. A writer Bro asked, would love to know your sun, moon, and rising. My sun is Taurus, my moon is Libra, my rising is Taurus, and then I have my Venus in Taurus and my Mercury in Taurus as well. So I have a lot of Tauruses in my natal chart. I feel very Taurian, whatever the right word is. Spoilers Podcast asked, what is something you learned growing up that helps you in your everyday life now? I think one of the things that I learned very early on, because we moved a few times when I was younger because of my mom's job, is that you can start fresh anywhere and you can make friends anywhere. I think those experiences really taught me that there is so much of this world to experience, and I'm really happy that like early on my mom kind of pulled us out of our little bubble and showed us that there are different cultures, there are different ways of looking at things. But in specific, what I learned from those experiences as a child is that I can make friends anywhere. Anywhere on this earth, there will always be at least one person in that community that I can relate to or connect with. And that kind of gives me a feeling of closeness and connection. So, yeah. And then there were a couple of people asking me about Reiki, how I got introduced to Reiki, or metaphysical healing, as Mike calls it. I got introduced to Reiki. I think I must have been like 20, maybe 21. I was doing jiu-jitsu at the time, and there was a lady in our class who is a Reiki master, and I was talking to her after class one time about my acne, because I had a lot of acne on my forehead and I had digestive issues, and she proposed that I come to her practice and that she would give me a Reiki session. So a couple of weeks later, I ended up in her office and she performed my very first Reiki session on me, and at the time I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really look into it. I was kind of skeptical but also open-minded because I had already gotten into yoga at that point. So I was already kind of like open to more like spiritual, more out there kind of ideas. And I remember at one point she got to my belly. So she was doing like a full body Reiki and she got to my belly and I got incredibly sick. Like I thought I was going to puke right there and then, which was kind of awkward. She gave me, like, when I told her I was feeling really sick, she gave me a moment to kind of like recuperate or like let everything settle down again energetically. But that for me that was so impactful that at that point I was like, yep, there's something to this, because I had never had it happen to me that someone put their hands on my body or hovering over my body, because she wasn't even touching me. She just had her hands a couple centimeters away from my belly. I had never had that happen that would make me sick. Like no one has ever touched me or whatever and I got ill from that, you know? So back then I didn't really understand what was happening. She told me that there's just a lot of energetic blockages and just misalignment around my belly area, which she was very right. I had a lot of digestive issues back then, and they were causing acne flare-ups on my forehead. So that's what kind of got me introduced to Reiki, but that was quite a couple of years ago, and I didn't really look much further into it until I came across Luna Nate's Reiki videos here on here on YouTube a couple of years ago. I think I've been following her for maybe 2 years, I would say. And she was the first one, I think she was one of the first ones who combined ASMR and Reiki together. And I don't know how I found her videos, but I did, and I really enjoyed listening to them before falling asleep. And it's because of her videos that I decided at one point, like, hey, maybe I should try making ASMR Reiki videos as well. So she kind of planted through her videos the idea in me to make these types of videos as well. So lastly, we have a couple of people asking about chronic fatigue syndrome. I'm not going to go too much into those questions right now. I'll answer those on my vlog channel, just because it would take a lot of time to answer that here, and I have talked quite a lot about that on my vlog channel, so I think it'd be nice once I'm returning back to my vlog channel, which I think I'll start making videos again once we move to Spain. I'll make a video there explaining how my healing journey is going so far and what I've been doing. I've been kind of really stable when it comes to my symptoms the last few months, but I'm not fully healed yet. But I feel like I'm like getting super close to it, but it's just I'm not going over. It's like I still have like a small little wall to get over, and I don't know how to cross over it, but I feel like I'm really close, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'll answer those questions later on my vlog channel. So I think we got all the questions that I wanted to get to. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A video. Feel free to send me questions at any time and let me know if you want to have another one in the future. If not, I won't be offended, I promise. Alright, I'll see you guys very soon for just a regular old Reiki ASMR video. Bye guys, love you. That was a far reach.